I am perceptually experiencing myself as if I dropped into a game that I'm playing. I'm actually the one playing it with the little finger things and everything else. And now the avatar that I decided to play in the game, I'm in it so much that I think I am the avatar in the game. I'm just playing it. And I've forgotten that the mind is just playing a game with the body through it and stuff like that. So the need do nothing. And is that thing in the game, is it sinning? Is it really killing anything? Is it really destroying the next person? Are they destroying me? How am I getting more life points? Why are my life points going away? You know, they're all doing those kinds of things in order for me to play a game and play it out a certain way. This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
The Course says in different places, if we play that game, we are at risk because we're playing certain rules.
Yes.
God, the Holy Spirit, has rules where I'm invulnerable. I'm invulnerable. And, in other words, all those things that you're describing happening,
Yes.
I'm just I'm going to call it the intensity. I'm in the moment. I'm in and unfolding. And if I'm playing the rules of particles colliding or being separated or whatever, then I pay the price. I live out the karma of that situation. And the Course in Miracles is saying, you know what? You play out the karma of any given situation. You go through that, and it's a little bit like you get no continuity. You meet your success, you meet your failure, then you regroup, and then you do it again. And those are brief, fleeting opportunities at growth and insight, and they add up. But if you see yourself in that situation and you say, I am of this situation, I am not other than all of these moving parts. Okay,
Right.
let's
Right. That's right. You're not other than all the moving parts.
Okay, let's say just got back from Minneapolis. I'm sitting at the table. My son-in-law is cooking over in the kitchen. My daughter is on the table across. Love my daughter absolutely dearly, and we have these long conversations. And Joanna will say, "Okay, they go over the top, right?" I mean, there's a lot of vocabulary thrown around. There's a lot of ideas thrown around. It's usually religious, philosophical. My son-in-law, it makes him nuts. He hates this. He hates it. I would say, just to be dramatic, he hates me. He's slamming pans all over the place, but it's a mystery. We don't know why he's slamming these pans, and he's
What tripped it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know what tripped it.
The mouth going.
Me. I tripped it, and now he's looking for a reason to get tripped, right? I mean, there's no reason to go ballistic, but he did, and so he finally comes to the table. The atmosphere did what I would say that he would have desired, which was locked up, solid, frozen with tension.
And we all got silent.
Everybody went quiet.
Yes.
And he was the sort of the the hot, intense center of that silence.
Yes.
You've been there, right?
Yeah.
Have we not? Is
Yes.
this not a common experience?
Yeah, no, it happens.
Okay, we're doing let's say we're doing the Course in Miracles here. What do? We try to like, hey, man, what's eating you? You know, it's like, what do you... Now is not the time.
Yes.
Now is not the time to talk about anything. But as an individual, whether I talk or whether I don't talk, or whether it's addressed or not addressed, is to say, Phil, meet yourself.
Yeah.
Here we are. It's the daughter who's trying to manage this. It's the son-in-law who's trying to suppress the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's me feeling embarrassed, feeling like, well, once again, I did that. You know? And Joanna, and, you know, so we're in this situation, right?
Right.
What do you do in these situations? It's no different than the interstate. Do you understand? It's no different.
Right. Well, you stop and you allow, I think, and I think we did.
Oh, you can't plow forward.
No.
I mean, because you have to recognize, I have to recognize that self that I am, that really, we'd have to get into this. And I'm, you know, to be honest with you, I'm gonna jump off of it immediately after this. I think that I had many of those instances, not all angry, but different kinds of instances where I was confronted boldly with the sonship and the nature of this. I think it's because of the meditations that I did on the interstate.
Oh, yeah.
Because I did a bunch of them.
In other words, you invited in the Holy Spirit to see the mirrors of the self.
I asked the Holy Spirit
in the world.
For particular healings.
Yes.
For particular knowledge, for particular self-information. And man, I got it.
Yes, you did.
In many ways, in many dimensions. It's a whole other story. But
Yes.
there is a bunch of that stuff. So this, and the Course says it, do not hide from the negativity.
Right.
Don't hide from the nightmare, because only by going through that and inviting that other primary relationship, you know, can this thing be healed.
Right. Because without seeing it, you don't know what, in fact, you don't know what to forgive, actually. You don't know how to call in the Holy Spirit to ask to see it another way. Until it's seen, it has to be brought to the surface in order for that to be healed. And most of the time we say, well, it was just a bad day, or there was this, that, and the other thing. And we brush them off when they are opportunities for a healing.
You know when the healing is? The healing is as soon as you say, here I am. Mm-hmm. Here I am, the great expanded self, the sonship.
In other words, everything that's coming at me is me.
The guy sitting over there that's got his nostrils flared 3 times normal size, looking intensely at me, and my daughter, and all this moment of intensity and passion. I can handle it. I'm not going to be destroyed.
Right.
And to recognize, and you know, of course, survival to go silent. I mean, whatever the case is, what I'm trying to say here is to do these meditations and to do what this Course is asking. We're asked to bring God, the Holy Spirit, into my momentary experience. That, by definition, is the now. And when that happens, healing, boom, it's healed.
Right.
It's not in a process. In other words, the situation with son-in-law, daughter, that situation, it's healed. It's over. It's done. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing. Why? Because I personally, and this is the testing ground for that. Now, what he has to go through, or what happens there. But I'm going to say that because I recognize that it's me and it's a message from the Holy Spirit, it is healed. And it is healed right here in a way that I can't understand. And all it is for me is to look for the witnesses.
Right. I agree.
All such attempts will ultimately succeed because of their purpose. Those are religious practices.
Yes.
Yet the means are tedious and very time-consuming, for all of them look to the future for release from a state of present unworthiness and inadequacy. And I'm saying at the moment of any intensity where it seems like something is wounded or dangerous or vulnerable, if you can return and say, welcome, here I am.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking with the voice of the Holy Spirit. Welcome, here we are, whatever you want to say it, so that I am inclusive of this. I'm inclusive of all of these dynamics. They're all in me. I don't like them. I don't like the smell, the look, the taste, the touch. Personal problem. Let go of that and say, here we are. Here we are.
I agree. Yeah, and that to release the state of present
That is the
unworthiness.
spiritual practice.
It is. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Okay, paragraph 5. Your way will be different, not in purpose, but in means. A holy relationship is a means of saving time. One instant spent together with your brother restores the universe to both of you. You are prepared. Now you need but to remember you need do nothing. It would be far more profitable now merely to concentrate on this than to consider what you should do. When peace comes at last to those who wrestle with temptation and fight against the giving in to sin, when the light comes at last into the mind given to contemplation, or when the goal is finally achieved by anyone, it always comes with this one happy realization: I need do nothing. So what do you say to that particular thing in the very last experience about the son-in-law, where I need do nothing?
I need do nothing?
Yeah. How
This is how I hold that whole situation. Okay. I was being myself. I was enjoying this conversation with my daughter. I wasn't talking about sports, hunting, fishing, or socialist dynamics.
I think we were talking about Myers-Briggs.
Yeah, we were going into Myers-Briggs, and I was doing a lot of analysis and meta-analysis.
Of different personalities.
Right,
yes.
so we were going on and on and on, and we extended his ability or his tolerance for that kind of talk. Please understand me, I don't think I'm the center of the universe in this, but I will say that in a sense, I did it. I like those conversations. I fuel those fires. I like that. I did it. It was me. I did it. And yet I have doubts about that. I have some complexity. It's not like I think I'm great with that stuff. So he outpictures to me the shut the F up aspect of myself in a nonverbal way. So I need do nothing. In a sense, I created a 3D holographic look at me. That was with the daughter, son-in-law, you, myself, around a table, the tension and everything. That's a little gem of something that lives in me all the time. It's a gem of something that's always in me. Having seen that gem, I'm telling you, I have seen that gem. I have. I'm not making this up. I need do nothing. I don't need to write any letters. I don't need to send any books.
When you call it a gem, it's a realization or a revelation of self. Yes.
Yeah, isn't that a gem?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Isn't that the pearl of great price to find out that?
Yes.
Because what happened was, when he's in the kitchen, let's say cooking and slamming pans, he's a thing on the other side of the room. But when it reached that intensity level, I see that this part of myself has snapped into my focus, almost literally screaming for me to love them.
Oh, yeah.
Screaming to embrace them.
Absolutely.
Not because he needs a hug. It's not because the guy doesn't need a hug. He doesn't want a hug, especially not from me in that situation. But for me to embrace a situation, because that's what we got to do. It's our work. It's my work. Now, Joanna's got hers. Right. She had her whole thing. The whole thing didn't revolve around me or the son-in-law.
No.
You would have to analyze, you would have to look at what yours was in that circumstance.
Well, I identify with the daughter, in my patterning and the way I've handled other things in my life and everything else. And I would also have to do the same thing of embrace the younger version of myself who did so many things similarly in order to keep the peace or whatever it was, you know, and love the self that thought that that was the thing that it needed to do in order to protect itself, in order to whatever it was that I thought would, not disturb my world. You're willing to be a wallflower for a while or whatever it is. That's what I did. I can't say that she does. But at any rate.
But you see, in the terms, I apologize for interrupting, in the terms of the Course here, if I see him over there flinging pans and stuff and making noise as sinning, like he should be more expressive in a verbal way, or I'm the sinner, I should keep my mouth shut. I should know my limits. Or we should have done this, or we should have done that, or I could do this or that. That's all sin.
I agree. It is all sin.
And it says, as long as I persist in that, but when I see...
I know, because that means that something needs to be done differently or whatever it is in order for it to be resolved. And then it's saying, no, when you come to the happy realization, I need do nothing. There's this moment of just letting go of it all and allowing the Holy Spirit to come in and say, now let me show you what it really is, kind of thing.
I don't know if I can make it clear enough. I don't know if I'll be able to. I'm not saying that there's a better way to look at a family, let's say, use the terminology, a family fight or tension. I'm not saying that there's a better way to look at it. What I'm saying is it is a precious jewel. You understand? I'm saying it's a precious jewel because in that moment, if you choose to let that intensity in, you're healed, the situation is healed. I'll guarantee it. That's what it's saying. I find that to be true. People, the guns go down, the weapons turn into plowshares.
Yes.
The world changes.
Yes, it does.
Now, if I had managed to be skilled enough to not push the guy over the edge, is that good? I don't know. It's relatively good. But because I don't have the skill, or I don't feel like exercising the skill to not push somebody over the edge, and I'm just myself, if I'm willing then to let this come at me, and to say, this is me, Phil. This isn't other than you. It's not like, it's not a tete-a-tete. It's not a head-to-head confrontation of any kind.
Right.
This is love. Do you understand?
Yeah, it's a call
love.
For, yeah.
How can you say this? A child's temper tantrum. What do you think? They just like to do this kind of thing? Or, a dog that bites you. No one wants to be angry. No one wants to bite.
No, it is a call for love. I know it is.
And a call for love, do you see what a blessing, though, that is?
Yes.
We can say that like that. You say it's like a bad thing. Like, I know how to love, but they only know how to ask for it. No. The call for love is the same as love itself.
It is, yes.
Because it brings love into play.
Yes.
So this guy, by slinging pans and doing this and this, do you realize, I haven't talked with him, I probably won't. But at this moment, as far as I'm concerned, it was a moment of real intimacy.
I agree.
And that was the language and the price for that intimacy, given who we are.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know him better as a person. He knows me better as a person. And I have embraced that thing. I have zero negativity about him or me.
Right. And that's the healing. That's the beauty of it. Okay. All right. Let's go on to paragraph 6.
Here is the ultimate release, which everyone will one day find in his own way at his own time. You do not need this time. Time has been saved for you because you and your brother are together. This is the special means this Course is using to save you time. You are not making use of the Course if you insist on using means which have served others well, neglecting what was made for you. Save time for me by only this one preparation and practice doing nothing else. I need do nothing is a statement of allegiance, a truly undivided loyalty. Believe it for just one instant, and you will accomplish more than is given to a century of contemplation or of struggle against temptation. It's a metaphysical reality. It's a metaphysical truth in that tete-a-tete, that scene, that tension. And we've had that before. It happened to some degree at Thanksgiving last time.
Yes.
To recognize, what are we talking about here? I'm not trying to be airy-fairy. Love.
Yeah.
We're talking about love.
Right. Yeah.
That's all it is. And I am severely flawed as an egoic presence. So I go through this world crushing the tulips. I don't tiptoe on them. And I don't mean to.
No, I agree. But when you're crushing the tulips, say, of the other, we're also crushing the tulips of ourself, because we believe in other words, all the things that I see in the other that I want to complain about and everything else are usually some aspect of myself that is also hurt, is not seen, is not heard, is not something that is going on that I'm seeing in the other. And I go, God, why don't she just stand up for herself or whatever? No, that's what I'm saying to myself, those same kind of statements. So that is the opportunity to actually have the mirror in front, let yourself see what you're telling yourself, to the point where you can go, okay, this is the thing I need to, as you said, give a hug to. I need to hug that. I need to say, there's no reason for me to hate and create more and more littleness, either in the one who I want to blame out there or in myself.
But I do want to add a clarification for things in general. You are something.
Yes.
I am something. We have preferences, we have modus operandi, we have neurosis, we have these different things that are a part of the body and mind. It's part of the complex of what I am. To try to check myself from, let's say, stepping on toes, crushing tulips in my path. It's great.
I wasn't actually saying that. I was just saying that be aware that when it's happening, that is most likely I'm doing it to myself at the same time.
Well, and I just want to clarify that the strategy that the Course is suggesting is not for me, Phil Hamilton, to identify his problem areas and the ways that he is aggressive in society, or the ways he's unskilled, or the way he messes up. Those are sins.
Right.
It's for me to make a contract with the Holy Spirit to bring as much of myself, ourselves, me, into these situations as possible. I did not go into that situation with son-in-law wanting to step on toes, crush flowers, or anything.
Right. No,
I went into it just to talk to my daughter. That's it, right? Now, I did crush flowers. I did step on toes. Does it mean, okay, in the future I'm more sensitive to what he wants to hear, doesn't want to hear? Okay, that's fine. That's not relevant. What's relevant is I was not operating in a bad spirit, nor was he.
Right.
He was reacting. I was reacting. I'm reacting to an opportunity to chit-chat ad nauseum with my daughter, and he was reacting to that chit-chat ad nauseum for whatever reason. That circumstance was designed in heaven to bring us together. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's not like I should get better about myself so I don't do that. It's good to have skill. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
I'm saying that the mistakes we make and the flaws we do because of our problematic selves, if we're doing the Course and we're paying attention to that relationship with the Holy Spirit, they only generate opportunities for intimacy and for healing and self-awareness. They're all good things.
I agree. Okay. Paragraph 7. To do anything involves the body, and if you recognize you need do nothing, You have withdrawn the body's value from your mind. Here is the quick and open door through which you slip past centuries of effort and escape from time. This is the way in which sin loses all attraction right now. For here is time denied, and past and future gone. Who needs do nothing has no need for time. To do nothing is to rest, and to make a place within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Into this place the Holy Spirit comes and there abides. He will remain when you forget, and the body's activities return to occupy your conscious mind. Well, that's beautiful because, again, it's giving us the tools of recognition for what it means to do nothing. To do nothing is to rest and to make a place within you where the activity of the body ceases to demand attention. Because we're always giving attention to it. We're giving attention to it all the time. As you said, it's like, oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm thirsty. I need a little this. I need a little time off. I don't want to talk anymore. Whatever it is, we take the attention off of that for a moment of rest. In that moment of rest is the place where the Holy Spirit comes and there abides. And it says we're going to forget. He will remain when you forget, and the body's activities return to occupy your conscious mind. Do you have anything to say about that?
We had another experience on this trip, which helped me to understand maybe some of what that means. And I wrote about it on one of the show note things, about the toll gate in Chicago. Okay, so I get to the toll gate in Chicago, and the machine didn't spit out a ticket in wherever,
Indiana.
At the Indiana border. The machine didn't spit out a ticket, and so I'm sitting there punching, no ticket. So you get to the end. Eventually, I will have to deal with karma. Karma meaning
no ticket.
No
now
ticket.
What do I do?
Now, how do you get through here? So I get through, and I'm not savvy about this stuff, and I'm very reactive, and I'm freaked out by technologies that don't work. That's one of my bugaboos. My point being this: I had a complete and total meltdown failure, despite doing these practices, despite trying to do this stuff. I still had an absolute meltdown failure at that toll gate where I could not figure out what am I supposed to do, drive through the
I know, there's no attendance anymore. It's either you zoom through these gates that allow, they take a picture and everything else. This one had none of that. There's no pictures. You either have an easy pass or you have a ticket. And there's no attendance. And the gate is down, so you can't get through.
So I'm up against a wall with really exhausted of my ability to understand what to do or how I can do anything. I guess mad, insane. I can't go forward, can't go back. Now, to my credit, I did keep looking in the rearview mirror, noticing that no trucks were stacking up behind me. There were a lot of trucks. There was a lot of traffic. But for some reason, I don't know, some vibe I was putting off for the Holy Spirit was protecting me from total and absolute insanity.
I know. Then you tell me to hit the warning lights. I can't find it on the dash. I'm getting involved. I don't know where they are.
Yeah, hit the flasher. And
yeah.
This is my point. I had become useless. This body had become useless in that moment. The arms, figuratively or literally, go down at the side, and I go, I'm helpless. I'm helpless. Somebody move me through space. Joanna says, there's a little thingy.
On a little screen.
Push the little help button.
There's a help button. At this point, everything is panicked and everything else. There's like 4 silver buttons around a little LCD screen that is showing you what you're supposed to do if you have a ticket or whatever. But we have neither. And I go, no, right at the very low of the LCD, there is a little help button that says help. Okay,
and this is the point I want to make about that, is that we have to, flatten this out, right? Flatten out the situation. Flatten it. And this is how I've been looking at it. And I actually did this while I was in it, but I was in it.
Yeah.
I'm not cool, calm, and collected by any remote stretch of the imagination. I'm useless. But I still was able to flatten this out and say, I am in an intensity that's beyond my capacity to handle it. And I call on the Holy Spirit. I call on something that gets me out of that intensity. Joanna is there. She's not so in the intensity because I'm in it. She's got a different reaction to things. She tells me the button to push. The point I want to make is she ends up being agency of the Holy Spirit in that situation. We flatten it. And I say, well, it's a good thing your wife was along, your better half. That's not the point. Mm-hmm. The point is that I had lost my ability to function usefully.
Yeah. Because the Holy Spirit will speak through whatever it needs to speak through if you're willing to hear it. It can be a stranger, it can be anything that will suddenly, it will show up as to the answer to the solution to the problem.
And I'm going to say that the reason for that experience, at least one of the reasons for it, mm-hmm. among others, in terms of this whole thing that we're talking about, the reason for that drama was so that I would see that I'm not necessary for the work of the Holy Spirit. I am not necessary for salvation.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I bring myself to it. I show up. I melt down. I meet my edges.
It does to say that your desire for it,
yes,
it needs to be there.
But do you understand, in terms of the body-mind, and it says it in the Course and other places, Spirit can use anything to accomplish the work. So if I have, as an overarching relationship with the Holy Spirit, yes, whether it's on a battlefield or at the toll gate, mm-hmm. I might reach the end of my resources in the body-mind. But Joanna's there. Mm-hmm. Or if it hadn't been her, it would have been something else.
Yes.
So that we're not necessarily central to fixing. That's why it says, if you will just understand, you need do nothing. I was literally paralyzed into that state.
Right. Yeah.
And I needed to do nothing. And
I've been in places like that as well in my life. Yeah.
So, okay, Joanna, tell me, am I making myself clear?
About the need do nothing? No, those are the moments, because unfortunately, sometimes it takes those kinds of spaces where, we want to be the ones who can solve and fix and everything else. But when we're suddenly at a place where it's literally we hit a wall, well, you're forced into I need do nothing almost. It's almost like a collapse.
Can you see that you have, your body is bigger than that?
Yes.
There are strangers on the street who are connected to you.
Absolutely.
In this case, you're in the car with me.
Yes.
It could have been someone else.
Yeah. And like that moment that you helped the Latinos who were bumped up against the curb.
Yeah, right.
Who didn't know they just needed to move they were trying to get this car off the road that had stopped. And they just had to move the wheel a little bit different and they could pulled into a driveway. You became the agency of the Holy Spirit that allows for the thing to happen. So, I mean, we don't know how the Holy Spirit's going to use us. We don't know how the Holy Spirit works. We're inside the dream.
And he might use me by reducing me to helplessness.
Right, exactly.
So that I can have a deeper understanding of the work of the Holy Spirit or the work of God in my life beyond the body, beyond what I think
Absolutely.
is necessary for all this.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Okay, paragraph 8.
Yet there will always be this place of rest to which you can return, and you will be more aware of this quiet center of the storm than all its raging activity. This quiet center in which you do nothing will remain with you, giving you rest in the midst of every busy doing on which you are sent. For from this center will you be directed on how to use the body sinlessly. It is this center from which the body is absent that will keep it so in your awareness of it. It's exactly what I was talking about. It's exactly what I'm trying to say, is that at that toll gate, or even with the son-in-law,
Right.
there's an activity of bodies, and I'm invested in this body is that, and that body's that, and all that kind of stuff. But if I'm doing the Course in Miracles, which is only to notice, Course in Miracles isn't inventing a reality. It's not like reality is changed because I do the Course in Miracles. It's I become aware of the reality that this creation is.
Oh,
and in that creation at the toll gate, I get a chance to see that I'm just one of the players in this environment. The center of it is the Holy Spirit.
Right.
The center of the action is the axis mundi, is the Holy Spirit. And if I could just calm myself down and say, I need do nothing. That's what it's saying. Now, the thing is, even as I'm saying it, I can feel it. There's something in me that says, wow, man, you are setting yourself up for a problem if you need do nothing.
Right. Right.
Because, I've got stuff to do. I've got business to take care of. I've got paperwork to file. I got stuff to do. But it didn't exclude that. It said in all the doings that you're sent on.
Right. In all the doings, this quiet center in which you do nothing will remain with you, giving you rest in the midst of every busy doing on which you are sent. For from this center, you will be directed how to use the body sinlessly.
If I had a suggestion, I'm having this suggestion, is to see every environment that I'm in. Like, let's say there's Joanna and we're in a town, there's stuff around me. If I sort of kind of see it from a higher view, maybe the 15-foot view, if not 1,500-foot view, and I look down on it and I see these pieces like in there, and to recognize that there is a center of gravity for those pieces, and it's not in any of them necessarily, but there's a center of balance and in those pieces. So let's say all these different parts arise. There's Joanna and me and the son-in-law and the daughter and the dining room table, and we're all there like this, and the Holy Spirit is somewhere.
Yes.
At the fulcrum, at the balance point, holding it in balance. And if I can just become aware of that miraculous presence of balance, of elegance, that might go through nothing apparently. It's just between the space. The center might be, and I had this sense, the center is somewhere between myself and, let's say, my son-in-law. Or in this case, the center at the toll gate was someplace, it definitely wasn't near me, it was someplace between you and the screen. There's a center of balance. The Holy Spirit comes in and holds that. Does that make any sense?
I don't know. I wouldn't visualize it like that. I just look at it like a call for help, because it is a call for love. And internally, I considered that you had a call for help or a call for love, because I've seen those things happen to myself and to you in other situations. And the answer comes in. Sometimes it's delayed or whatever, because you're willing. To me, it's a willingness. How I experience that is whether or not there's a center point or anything else. All I know is that I'm answered. And it feels all-inclusive. The answer is there. It's where I didn't see it before. It's right in front of me. And in your case, it was right in front of you, but you're panicked. You can't see what you need to do or anything else. I become the voice from outside that reaches in and say, right there, just touch right there. And then a voice comes over the intercom and goes, can I help you? And it is as if the Holy Spirit has now answered, because the gate goes up after all that. Whereas before, you're locked in, you're trapped. We actually experience it like a trapped animal. It's the body saying, somebody's going to squish me between here and there, and I'm never going to be able to get out. So I don't know, the way that you described it, I don't know that I personally experience it that way, but I don't think it really matters how you experience it. It just matters that you sense that the Holy Spirit has now answered the call for help, the call for love, that it's answered it.
Well, to make it immediate, here I am. There's Joanna right there. We're doing this podcast thing. Where's the center? Is it in some decision making that we make? Is it some agreement that we have? Is it our decision to do it? No. The center is the Holy Spirit.
Right.
The center. Now, what does that mean? It means if I derail into some doing that it's saying here, I will be brought back to the holy instant, the holy relationship. I will be brought back because the center is the Holy Spirit. To the degree I resist that being drawn to that center is hell.
Yes, I agree. I agree. There you go. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Thank
See
you.
you.